Today we are looking at module replacement as a technical person on Genexpert 4 module part. And Genexpert comes in different variations and configurations. One of them is a desktop version, a laptop version, and express version. So let's dig into what is inside the Genexpert machine. Just to take note that this is a hardware replacement and the software base is coming as part 2. I hold in the middle and also flip it slowly to the back. This is the side view, and the lower side will be able to stay intact. I need to apply some force outwards at this point, and I pull it outwards and backwards. Then you're able to release the covers on the outside. This is how it looks like from inside with all the 4 modules in place. So we are going to show you also on how to remove all the 4 modules. From the top, there are 2 screws that are spring loaded. You just need to release them all, and once you release them, you're able to remove them nicely or even without force. Make sure that you completely release them, but not to remove them from the harness. This is the port you can be able to release the module. The LAN port and the power cables are the ones that are connecting the machine to the gateway board on the lower side, which you're going to show you in the next phase. So the easiest way to release them from below, not to cut the cables. First start with the power, release the power cable, and then once you do the release the power cable, you can now release the LAN cable. There's no line, but all you need to see is just to remove the cables. Release the doors, completely open the doors as indicated, not too fully open, but slightly open, I think around 45 degrees. You will need to carefully hold the module up, slightly tilt it towards the front, and you push the door so that you're able to release the modules. But this is how you handle the modules. You don't need to handle it with your hands directly. Do the same, repeat the same to the other 3 modules. Once you remove the modules, this is how it looks like, the shell part, but the motherboard is actually on the lower side. A module is a self-contained unit that performs a specific function within the machine. So 6 and 10 colors refers to the number of fluorescent dyes the machine can be able to detect. So these dyes are used to label specific DNA sequence, indicating that the more colors you have, the more sequence you're able to detect. Below this part, we have the gateway board and also the main power supply board that are connected to the machine. And how to remove it, there are 4 screws below. This is for the old model. It's different from the new one, but for this model, there are 4 screws that you need to release. There's these 4 small screws, the star Phillips screwdriver. You just need a star Phillips screwdriver, release them, and then you're able to access your main board. Once you release all the 4, you'll be able to access the main board. And because this unit has been staying for a while, it is quite dusty. Just be careful when you're just going to do a PPM. You can see how much dusty the unit has been, and we'll need to clean that up. And this is the perspex glass that we need use for indication, LED indicator on, power on. So you should be very careful with this because it says a small power expert. Now this is the gateway board and the power supply board. The gateway board is the one in blue in the front, and then the power supply board has got all the electrical components for power regulation. So if you want to access it, this is how we could have actually accessed the gateway board. Now we've already cleaned up the board, and now we need to clean up the process and return everything. We do the reverse now, slide it in slightly, and make sure that it's aligning with the perspex glass. Fasten all the 4 screws that is holding on to the lower side, and then once done with the replacement, with the mounting of the 4 screws, you will get now to return all the modules in the same order. And there's no specific order, but place all the modules that are required one place. You start by sliding it in and then lowering it slowly, making sure you have access to the the lower side, there's a small cube. I'll be able to indicate to show you where the back of the module will need to sit down, and also the front side will need to sit down. Replace the power cables, connect them back to the machine. Meanwhile, also prepare to connect the LAN cable. There are several aspects. You can continue by doing all the 4 modules at once, then doing the power cabling later. What you need to consider is that you should always have this machine off power. So we are operating when it is not connected in power. That is something you need to consider. Repeat the same procedure with other 4. So below here is the groove where the stereo slit, where the module is sitting on the back. So it should also be able to align. Fasten the 2 screws, the one in front, to hold onto the module, and with that we'll be able to get the first phase of the module in place. And once you do this, you can be able to repeat the same to the other 4 modules. This is the best way to hold the modules, not to hold the motherboard part because of the electrostatic charges. Be able to destroy the board. So be careful when you're holding the board. Hold it this way. Should not be able to touch any of the electrical component. You see how we slide it in, and then also when you're lowering the unit, the module, you should be able to be careful when you're holding it in place so that nothing gets stuck, nothing gets damaged. So repeat all this with the other 3 modules, and once you're able to have them all in and seated, you should be able to get a good access to the cabling, both the power cable and also the LAN cable that is connected to the gateway board. So sometimes it might be tricky to fill it in, but once it's aligned, you should be able to sit down comfortably just like that. So fasten all the cables, making sure that all contacts are in place, all the clicks are in place. Sometimes you can be able to get these ferrite blocks in your way. Just make sure that they push them away and you have them fastened. Like now, even in this module 3, you can see that it's kind of difficult to fit it in. The bottom line is to have a comfortable working environment where you're able to access or able to push the cables in and click. Good, and it looks nice. Fasten all the top screws that are holding onto the modules, and then once you're able to fasten them, then you can be able to start the process of returning the black back cover. So this is how it looks like when it's all in place without the cover. So we are going to see on how to return the covers the same way. Open from below, remember the cables, open from below and then push it to the front. Then you push it to the front by slightly opening the front cover wide open, and then return them closely, and then you should be able to fasten all the screws that we removed on all the 4 screws we removed from behind. So fasten all the 4 screws out on the sides, with the shorter one being on the lower side, the lower side at the back. So just to be able to be sure when you replace them, you're replacing on the right side. Do the same to the opposite side. Also have your 4 screws with the shorter one and on the lower side as indicated, you can see, and then you connect all the 4 screws back to the position. Now the machine replacement has already been done. First, test all the powers. Connect your power supply just to test the unit without connecting to the PC. Test the power, see that all modules are lighting up, there's no other mistake. Great, you can see all the whole cables are lighting up, and also the power cable below is also indicated that there's a power connection in place. Check on your LAN cable. Just connect the LAN cable without powering on the PC or nothing like that, and then you should be able to connect, and your connection is done.